Hello and welcome to Betfred's National Hunt season preview. I'm actually delighted to say we're here at Jackdaws Castle, the home of O'Neill Racing, and of course the Betfred ambassador, Jonjo O'Neill Jr. Frankie Foster is alongside me as well. We're also going to hear from Jonjo Jr. himself. We'll hear from AJ O'Neill, of course, new on the licence with Jonjo this season, and Joel Ross, who sadly can't be here, but he will be joining us a little later on as well to give us his thoughts on the new season. He's coming back from a little bit of a medical incident.
He's lame.
He is, yeah. New season, Frankie. Cannot wait for it to get underway.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that will be, or would have been waiting all through summer for this to get going. We enjoy the flat as well, but yeah, we're very much in the jumps camp, aren't we? Looking forward to the season, and you always, I like this time of year because you look back to last year's results, even the festival, and you have your stars like Galloping Deschamps, your Ballybones, and you're looking forward to where they go. But you also have these novices that are coming out of nowhere, and nobody quite knows how good they're going to be. So it's an exciting time of season. Cheltenham in October is a bit of a fact-finding mission for me. I always hold my cards, at least betting-wise, and then I really like that right into Christmas, from the November meeting onwards and into the Christmas meetings. That's one of my favourite times of year for jump racing. So I can't wait for it to get going. It feels like a really long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
Talking about jump racing, maybe just because the flat season's been a really busy period for us at Betfred, or maybe just because I've missed it. But yeah, it's time. It's winter. It's time to get jumping.
It's a long time since we spoke about Constitution Hill.
It has.
Obviously, he's missed it quite a bit, but we believe he is back, better than ever. But obviously, in his absence, State Man, Lossymouth, they were the horses around, Willie Mullins. Can he repel them? Can he get back to his best?
I think he can. I think Constitution Hill, he hasn't had an injury. That's where I think this is different. He had an illness. If he'd have had a tendon injury and come back, there's a bigger question, in my opinion, of can they retain their athletic ability? An illness is different. Shouldn't affect their athletic ability too much. I'm no vet, but this is kind of the comments I've been reading. It shouldn't affect them athletically. They just need to get back to full health. So, in my opinion, a full health Constitution Hill is still miles better than anything else currently racing. I still remember stood on the corner when he breathed.
Yeah, incredible, wasn't it?
The Champion Hurdle.
Like he was on rails.
It was. That picture I've still got in my head, and I have him lengths above anything else in the field. The only thing, because punters will say, why don't you back him for Cheltenham now at 7-4 if you believe that strongly that he's a world beater? The only thing I doubt is not if he's good enough when he's fit and healthy, it's can he stay fit and healthy? Sometimes horses that get sick will have a habit of getting sick. Maybe they fall ill easier than others. So I think he wins if he's healthy. Touch wood. He stays healthy all season, and we get to see him at his brilliant best. I just don't have 100% confidence to be backing him for races miles away, in case he gets sick again.
Stayman, can he? Is he the one then? If it's not to be Constitution Hill, is he the one to throw it down? Because he cleaned up in his absence last year, but the year before he couldn't hold a candle to him.
There's the Lossymouth Stateman question. I'd back Stateman against Lossymouth all through the winter. I think he's more durable. He's older. He's hardy. He'll probably go better on any ground. Lossymouth might have her day on a real quick surface. She's kind of flashy, isn't she? You could make an argument there, but I wouldn't put anyone off backing Stayman at silly short prices over in Ireland throughout the season and just have him keep winning. But yeah, Constitution Hill's leagues above. I think he is the best that hopefully we've seen in a very long time.
All right, so if Willie Mullins isn't to take the 2 mile division, he's got plenty of other options. Obviously, one horse we're all looking forward to is Ballyburn, who's had that 2.5 mile taken away from him at the Cheltenham Festival. So, are we going to drop back to 2? Is he going to go 3 mile? Will he miss Cheltenham altogether? He's got a big season ahead of him.
He does, and everyone is given to be playing a guessing game for a long time, aren't they, of where he'll go. He's got a massive season ahead of him. Do you know what I find interesting about him going over fences is that low head carriage he has.
Yeah.
And again, it's just a kind of a visual analysis, but I'd like to see him jump a fence and then he'll probably land and get his head back on the floor and he'll have to pick it back up again because he's a fascinating horse to watch. I was watching his run back at Cheltenham a couple of days ago, and when they were turning at the top and you could use the rail for reference, all the other horses in line with where the camera was, their entire head was above the rail and his entire head was below it. Yeah, so it's fascinating, his running style, but he does have an exciting season ahead of him. The horse which could go over hurdles or fences and is yet to be decided, that I'm most excited to see from the William Mullins team is Matchbury when the Triumph Hurdle. He's built to go chasing. They've all talked about him before the Triumph that he was a Gold Cup horse. He's huge. William Mullins said he could well go chasing. He just doesn't like to do it with a young horse. But whatever he does, I think he's certainly one to keep an eye on in whatever race he pops up in. And if you're trying to pin down what he might do at the end of the season and back him at a big price, then good luck to you. But I know it's a fairly obvious shout. I was really impressed with him in the Triumph. And I bet as a horse that was so big, so young, that's probably summered well and will come back in looking really good.
Yeah, I don't think he's supposed to win a Triumph, was he? So big. He said a future Gold Cup winner. He did really well, so I think he's got a huge season ahead of him as well. But talking of the Gold Cup, Galopin Des Champs, can he make it 3? Does Willie Mullins hold all the aces? The betting suggests right now he does.
I think he does. I think Factifile proved his hype, and I think he is a very, very good horse. And Galopin Des Champs doesn't need to prove anymore. He's won 2 Gold Cups and won well. Fast or Slow is probably the only one, in my opinion, that could throw it up to them. Who was unseated in the Gold Cup and has been Galopin Des Champs, 2-3 times maybe. So he's still being discounted for some reason. But yeah, it's an interesting one. When you start to think about a horse winning the Gold Cup for the 3rd time, as they just get a bit older, and do you just feel that kind of will to win fade a bit? Maybe we'll find out. But I'm not as in love with Galopin Des Champs as I was last year, just on the back that he's getting older, he's having lots of tough races, and he'll have to be really brave to continue in the same way he has. The only thing I would back him if it's like it's not a bulk and he can jump well and travel well. And he looks great, doesn't he? But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm looking forward to seeing Factifile. All of those 3-mile chases, really. That's a strong 3-mile chase to Virginia 9, and less so in England.
There's a long way to go to Cheltenham, but automatically, National Silver Season Preview, we go there, don't we? But we are here at Jackdaws Castle, beautiful Jackdaws Castle. So let's hear the thoughts then of our Betfred ambassador, Jonjo and AJ Jr. on the season ahead. Okay, delighted to say Jonjo and AJ Jr. has joined us now. Thanks for having us. Jackdaws Castle this morning, brought a bit of Manchester weather down for you.
Yeah.
It is the winter game, you feel more...
We don't mind the rain.
Yeah, no else, of course. Some of them will need it. I mean, how excited are you for this brand new season? A bit of a rebrand, O'Neill Racing, and some nice horses in the stable.
Yeah, delighted. The way it's kicked off, and obviously Chepstow just gone, really kicked us off nicely into the season, and you can tell now, even the entries coming out, a lot more better horses are coming out and racing every day, so it's a nice change.
And obviously, you mentioned Cheltenham. Is it still a case of everything leading to that week in March? Should we have a more wide open programme now, more races for you to aim at and nice prizes in the National Run game?
Yeah, there is. Every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there's nice races. And to be honest, especially at this time of the season, every day of the week there's novice and maiden hurdles, and there's always nice horses coming along. So I really enjoy this time of the season because you're looking at what does other people like, and what trainers are running their horses where and stuff, and you get a good feel of kind of what you've kind of got in your pack quite early. Listen, the Cheltenham Festival is where it's at, although it has become obviously a lot more difficult to win, and there are a lot of other good races throughout the season. So I do think it is all about Cheltenham, but it's not, because there's a lot of horses that will win nice races through the season, and you dream of Cheltenham. So I think you can focus on like all the way lead up to Christmas, and then after Christmas there's a lot of races still to look forward to.
Cheltenham doesn't suit every horse, either.
No, it doesn't, not at all. And it is very, very undulating, and some horses want flat tracks, and that's why they go to Newbury's and Aintries instead. But yeah, I think there's still a lot of good races throughout the season.
I mean, you said it's tough. It's even tougher now because Mr. Mullins has an eye on some of these big prizes as well throughout the... So obviously, Champion Train last year. It's not just Cheltenham now that the Irish are taking aim at.
No, yeah. Willie took quite a few over. He was winning races at Fontwell and Worcester and Warwick in the summer. So
He's been fighting back.
Yeah, it's become, and I'd say definitely, the October meeting at Cheltenham Gavin Cromwell and Gordon and Henry, that they'll start to come over more. But it makes it more competitive. So, it's bad for us in a way because it's harder to win. But for the sport, I think it's good.
I mean, I know you don't like to disclose your personal targets for the season, but what would you disclose as a successful season for both yourself and the stable?
We were very close off 1 million last year, so we'd like to hit that target. Myself, I always try and numerically better your last season. So anything, we've had a very slow summer. We haven't had many horses in for the summer at all. So it's hard to know until you're around Christmas where you want to aim for numerically. But definitely quality-wise, if we can get a few graded winners in there, that would be ideal. And it looks as though this year, hopefully, there's a couple of horses to go to war with.
You said that you like this time of year because you're seeing what everyone has. Is that a case of, what you've got in your yard? Okay, not all of them have gone to the track, and sometimes the horses don't perform on the track like they do at home, but you all have an idea of what is good and exciting here. You'll hear almost rumours and chat from other jockeys, trainers about what horses are in other yards. And is it a case of almost kind of ranking yourself against them as they all start to hit the track and say, okay, maybe, ours might be better than whoever was in that yard that's being talked about?
Yeah, definitely. At this time of the season, they're all champions, they're all unbeaten, as Dad says. But also, there's a lot of bubbles burst at this time of the season. You can see with other yards as well. Do you get a horse you really like at home, who runs the first day disappointing, and you're all back to the drawing boards. We don't typically hype up the horses too much because we know that they can disappoint on the track, and then you get the other side of the scale. Mr. Megget last year, he showed us very little at home, and we weren't expecting much from the first run at all, and he bolted up at Carlisle, and you don't know until they run first time which way they're going to go. So there are a lot of surprises in there, so you've got to stay fairly grounded, but at the same time, if you can't dream a little bit, there's no point doing it.
Other than obviously Betfred's play to get away, give us one from the yard, or one that you're looking forward to a lot this season, your main hope for this campaign.
Springwell Bay was exciting at the weekend. We thought if he translated his hurdle form to fences, he would be up amongst it. He's rated 145 at going into Chepstow, and it was obviously very unfortunate what happened to Twiston Davis's horse, but I think it was still a deep enough race. First time out over fences, turning into the straight, we were trapping over the last couple of fences, and I thought there was plenty of improvement to come from our lad. So, it's nice when horses like that, you're hoping that do run well first time do, when there's plenty to work on. And hopefully we'll see that with a few of them horses in the next couple of weeks. I suppose the way Mr. Megget won his 2 bumpers last year, he'd be the one I'd be looking forward to going over hurdles.
You might just say good horses is your answer to this question, but do you have a preference for getting on a novice hurdler making their hurdle debut, or one that you rode last year going chasing for the season, or one of the more experienced horses? Do you have any preference, or is it just the ones that you think are going to win?
To be honest, it is the nice handicaps. But for me, it's the nice novices and the nice novice chasers that I always get excited about, because they've got a programme for them all year, and you can have a look, whether it's going to be like the EBF final or attempts or the Betfred hurdle or something like that, or if they're good enough to be graded horses. They're the ones you dream about and start plotting into the spring for the bigger festivals.
I suppose there's an element of unknown still, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And, you could finish 4th in a Utoxa maiden hurdle in 2 weeks, and you look back a year later and they're all rated 135 plus and think, God, I shouldn't have been so disappointed being 4th. And then you can bolt up the next time, So you don't know until after Christmas or even after that how deep some of the novice hurdles are, and you just it's very hard to kind of duck and dive, and because with a lot of novice hurdlers, we've got to run them, but you can get lucky and unlucky in your divisions and stuff like that at this time of year. but we run them anyway, and it brings them on for the next time.
Great word last year, mate.
Yeah. Obviously, AJ on the licence now, but it's always been a family affair here, as you know. Obviously, AJ's on the licence now. Rebrand, as you can see, O'Neill Racing. I mean, how much pride does that give you, attacking a new season with all three of you?
Yeah, it's good. I think it was important. AJ is obviously on the licence from the beginning of the season, but I think the rebrand shows that it is a proper family business, and Mum also is massively involved. She doesn't. None of this would be here without Mum. So I think it just gives everyone a little bit of credit. But in terms of how it's changed, I wouldn't have said it's changed much, because it's been like this the last few years, really. But I think Dad was keen to share the responsibility with AJ and all of us, and take a bit of pressure off him. And he still works as hard as any of them. So I think keep him going for a bit longer than that.
I've seen that. I've seen your dad firsthand this morning working. You must thank your mum Jackie as well for hosting us, because she's absolutely brilliant host, always looks after us as well when we come down. Thanks for joining us. We'll hear from you plenty throughout the season as well, Jonjo, and I say go well, and hopefully it's a successful year. Yeah, thanks for Jonjo and AJ Jr. Obviously, we'll get his thoughts throughout the season here as well. We're here this morning, thankful to the team O'Neill Racing, Jackdaws Castle. Not a beautiful morning, but it is great to be here. I'd love this office every morning. 120 horses out there, heads out the stables, watching them work as well. Anything caught your eye this morning? Obviously, you heard from Jonjo looking like of Springwell Bay. The weekend.
He certainly want to latch on to, because the way that he won at weekend, and I think they were sure that there's got to be more in him as the season goes on. Just getting the list of horses up here, but often with my unexpert eye, I'm not sure if he's made our list. That I like was Gold, was it?
Bogold.
Was it
Bogold? Bogold, yes.
Yeah. One thing caught my eye on the gallops this morning in my unexpertised eye, but Bogold, and I was pleased to hear John Senior said he looks fit. We need to get him running soon, so hopefully he runs not before this show goes out, but I'd like to see how he gets on. And then, God, who else are we looking forward to see? Johnny Hill, of course. Monbeg Genius, let's see how he's campaigned. Fascinating. St. Dave, he looked really.
He did. He looked beautiful. Yeah. He certainly caught my eye on the gallops this morning.
He did. Yeah, he led that. When we watched him on the gallops, was leading the pack, and he looked big and strong, and he galloped up the hill nicely, didn't he, St. Davy? So he looks a really nice horse. Maybe not a nice horse for racing. I don't know much about Peso, but he was lovely. I had a cuddle with him this morning.
You ran well the weekend. Peso, yeah, we had a few Pesos. I should say it's been a brilliant morning, so thanks to the O'Neill Racing team for having us here. Let's get a second member of it then, and the thoughts of, joint trade, is he, on the licence, of course, AJ O'Neill on this year's national campaign. For another member now of O'Neill Racing, it's AJ, newly on the training licence for this season. It's been a few months now, but we've had a rebrand.
Yeah.
How excited are you for the new campaign?
Very excited. As you say, we've had a rebrand. Thankfully, Martin and Yvonne Tedden from Was Stalls have been very kind and very generously helped us out with all the new rebranding, which looks really smart. So nice, yeah. And so a nice fresh face for the main part of the season to kick off, but really looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks for having us here. We brought the Manchester weather down. Like John was saying, you're quite glad of the rain because there's quite a few horses here that need that ground really to come right.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can go outside and do a rain dance, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But you just have to make the most of whatever the weather brings.
And similar to what we were asking John, I mean, Cheltenham's always been the be-all and end-all, especially around here. It's just on the doorstep, and everything leads to Cheltenham. But the kind of national game's kind of been criticised for that of late. I mean, have they done a job now to make it a better programme for you every weekend, or something else to aim at other than the Holy Grail of the Cheltenham Festival?
Yeah, I think so. It's obviously one of those things with the race planning. You can never please everyone. Yeah. I suppose that's just the way it goes. But there's a lot of good racing around. It's just trying to have the horses that are good enough to compete and hopefully win now.
Well, the Irish are. Willie Murray's now targeting everything. He's like, even here in Novice Hills at Ludlow and Foss last, nothing's safe.
Yeah, no, nothing's safe anymore. But
And what would be like maybe a main hope for the season? Obviously, I know you've got plenty of winners, but if there's one horse out there in the yard right now, you think, I'm hoping he's on a really good season, we'll look back and be able to be successful.
Yeah, we're lucky with a few nice young horses, and I suppose just trying to keep them fit and healthy, and get them to do the best they can. There's a couple. Bill Joyce, I was lucky enough to ride in the bumper last year, so it'd be nice to see him progress well. He was a nice horse. Mr. Megget, another one, put in 2 really nice performances. Was a bit unlucky and stumbled in the entry bumper, but there's 2 to name a few. There's a few there that hopefully will be able to do well.
And they're the ones with the promise. Like you say, but you've also got lots of old hounds like your Iron Bridge, your collectors that haven't been here for a while, to be in those big staying chasers. I mean, do you have a preference? Is it newcomers, whether the dreams are still alive, or is it the old boys you can set your watch by?
Winners, however they come, it doesn't matter, just winners.
Brilliant.
Just picking up on obviously the joint training license, as John said and you said before, the 3 of you, or the 4 of you probably, including your mum, have worked together for a long time. So the name change isn't really a working change as such. It's just officiated it. But are there any roles that you do that your dad won't, and vice versa, or do you both do everything?
Go to the racecourses that are 100 plus miles away, I suppose is my job. Not really. We all work together as a big team. Often would have different ideas, but at the end of the day, we're all pulling towards the same outcomes and the same objectives. So, it's a shared responsibility, I suppose.
Do you think it helps being able to? Well, it must help being able to talk amongst you rather than being one head. You could talk to your dad or Jonjo, who's obviously going to be riding on the track, and between the 3 of you come to a suitable decision. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot more bad ideas than good ones, but hopefully the good ones do make their way through every now and again. It's good to have different perspectives and things. Make you think of things that you wouldn't have previously thought of. So it's definitely good to kind of have those checks and balances, just to make sure that we try and assess every option for every different outcome.
Your dad still gets the final say.
Oh, he gets the final say. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
You still see that this morning.
Only mother can supersede him.
And talk about the national season, of course. You've come on board with an idea of maybe sprinkling a few on the flat. I know you've got a couple of God of Fire and Circuit Breaker who may go jumping, but they've had decent prizes on the flat. I mean, is that something you're looking at for prize money, maybe?
I suppose it's one of those things. Dad's historically had flat horses. He probably used to have, when he was up north, probably a third of the string were flat horses. And there wasn't really any reason to, go away from that. Just the way that things fell, I suppose, and how it kind of happened over time. But it's something that definitely we'd like to look into and see if we can have a few more runners on the flat. I suppose it's just trying to, try new things, and not new things for me, not so much new things for Dad, but just, as I said, it doesn't really matter where they come from as long as they're winners. It's the same kind of thing, I guess. Just trying to keep the show on the road.
Keeps the season busy, doesn't it, as well, for owners as well. Gives them a different opportunities for winners being won, but days out, courses, things to look forward to. Those keeps it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to be able to, hopefully, be able to keep the owners plenty occupied all year round.
Yeah, don't like holidays then, do you? It's another winter now and a summer game as well. So, listen, thanks for having us here this morning. Really,
thank you for coming.
Time as well, and hopefully it's a very successful season for O'Neill Racing. Yeah, thanks to AJ then, the team here. Once again, their thoughts on the season ahead. One horse who, of course, also been talked about a lot after last season. We kind of missed him in the spring. Il Francais. Disappointed, then he's bounced back. All about the King George for him, we believe.
Yeah, all systems go. I spoke to an old George over in France, and he was very pleased with him and said...
Have you been to France?
Yeah. It was sunny there. Well, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was sunny for one day. He was very keen. He was kind of... That was the target, and he's coming back and having a crack. Talking of the King George, though, and talking of too much of Irish Challengers and too much of Cheltenham Festival Challengers, the Trainers' Championship's obviously going to be extremely competitive because it was a three-runner race last year. But I was looking at Henderson's stats and prize money, and he crossed the 2 million mark. He was a million or so behind the likes of Paul Nicholls and Dan Scouten. But he missed Out in the King George, really unlucky with Shishkin. Constitution Hill was a huge blow, both losing a race at Christmas and then at the Cheltenham Festival. John would have won the Queen Mother, you would think, how that race panned out. And then all of his other Cheltenham runners that ran in handicaps all got pulled out. And, there was only really, Lucia that picked up a bit of prize money in third. He's got a good army of novices to go to war with.
German Derby winner.
He's spending some cash.
1.4 million, was it?
I'm not saying he's going to win the Trainers' Championship, but I think it's going to be really, really good season for following and watching how Dan, Nicky, Paul, Willie coming across, try and find races to avoid each other, win, pick up prize money, because they're all going to have a crack at it. And Henderson's certainly not discounted from that sort of top end of prize money, I don't think.
Dan Scott started well, a good summer, targeting the championship that he narrowly missed out on last year. Paul Nicholls, a little bit quiet start, a disappointing Chester, a couple didn't run to form, but he's obviously got this Caldwell Potter that everyone we can't wait to see.
That'll be interesting, won't it? Future Gold Cup horse, who knows? Paul Nicholls was pretty relaxed about not having a winner on Chepstow, wasn't he? He was saying, it's all right, we're not there yet, give it a couple of weeks. I always avoid Paul Nicholls at the start of the season. Even that October Cheltenham meeting, I always just hold my money and wait and see what happens, and then he really gets rocking on the run up to Christmas. But Caldwell Potter is an exciting one. I would wait and see what he does first time out. I wouldn't be going, this is the next superstar. He's going to win whatever race he's entered in, because I believe with a big price tag, they'll take the time.
Yeah, that's what he did last year. He missed Cheltenham and he said, take the time with it.
Let his quality come if it is going to.
Right, it is a national season preview. 6 months, maybe more ahead. Some brilliant jumps racing. We need our horses to follow. Frankie in the 7, of course, Joel Ross sadly can't be with us here at Jackdaws Castle today, but we did catch up with him and get his horse to follow for the 2024-25 jumps campaign.
Hello, lads. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Frankie. It's Joel here, and I am in Ireland at Willie Mullins Stable. I'm just having a very private stable tour currently. And I've had a look around. There's not a lot here. It's not worth coming, to be fair. I think he'll have a quiet season. Another one of those. And there's Danny Mullins over there. What's he done to his hair? Looks like his first holiday in Caribbean. I remember that. Right, you've also nicked me one to follow. My first one, which is Il Francais. You talked about it so much. I'll just say it's the only anti-post bet I've had. If it had a run last year in the King George, it would have won. It was absolutely superb around Kempton. I think that horse, he will win the King George, and also a little tiny double in the Cheltenham Gold Cup this year, because as if Willie Mullins is going to win it. Emulating Best Mate and Arkle. It's never going to happen, is it? Another one to keep a note of is Major Fortune for the Noel Feely Syndicate. My mate Paul's got a little share in this, and I'll be honest, the first season we called it a few names. Major Misfortune was probably the politest of those. However, it ran up a sequence last year of a hurdles of 5 from 5 and just got chinned by one of Mullins, by a nose. It was at Ayr, wasn't it? Yeah, Ayr, 16-1 when Mullins came over to try and win the title, which he, of course, he did. I thought the horse would go over fences this season. It's not. Apparently, this is the story. It looks like it's penciled in to go the night before Halloween to Newton Abbot, where the ground will be proper dirty, Kerry Lee, Venetia Williams type ground. The horse will love that. And then if it runs really well or wins, we'll probably go on to Haydock a month later for a massive pot of around 100 grand. So that is my one to follow for the season, which is Major Fortune. And the only other one that I've got for you so far is Il Francais. But keep watching, because I'm sure you boys will know that I've got massive contacts in the Czech Republic, and I've got a Czech Republic bumper horse, which is going to take all the beating soon.
Cheers, Joel. Right, you can roll that one out for the season then.
We haven't seen what Joel's or heard what Joel's just said yet, but I can guarantee it's something mad.
Yeah, it will be.
One way or another, it'll be a disaster. It'll be an absolute superstar. So
anything that comes out of my mouth is mad, isn't it? It's always a worry. Hopefully it was clean. What's your horse to follow for the season?
One that I've already kind of thrown in there was Madgeburg, but that's probably pretty obvious to punters. But I do think that he's worth following, whatever he does, for probably quite a long time. One that's a bit more undiscovered is Exceller for Nicky Henderson, who won at Ascot, beating Solo. A really good performance, and then was beaten at Cheltenham, didn't jump very well, but it was a good field. Guy Wall won that race, I think, in January on Trials Day. And then, okay, he flopped at the festival, but how many of Henderson's did we see pulled up in those handicaps? So I'm hoping he missed a couple at Cheltenham in a hot race and didn't go to plan. His mark come down a touch. He was pulled up when Henderson's yard wasn't firing. He's down a few more pounds, and there's some good handicaps at Ascot on the run to Christmas, and he'll race off, I think, a mark of 1:42. Those 3 milers that Vettorino was cleaning up last year, maybe one of those races. I don't know if he will.
The Ascot races.
He was racing over 2.5 last year, but I'd like to see him going right-handed in a 2-mile handicap. I think he'll have a chance.
Excellent.
Yeah, hopefully maybe he could win 1 or 2 of those, because I think he's better than a mark 1:42.
Okay, one horse I ran last year was Chianti Classico, who went from strength to strength and won the Cheltenham Festival. The horse that won that race, that he won at Chepstow this year, was Destroy the Evidence from the same yard, and that's a horse that I do really like, and he'll be a horse to keep an eye on. But the form line from last season when he was running over hurdles, he had Kerry Hill back in 4th at Cheltenham, and that was just Kerry Hill's second start. I thought, well, nicely at Kelso on debut, winning point-to-pointer, joined Ruth Jefferson for those 115,000 guineas, so won a nice race at Kelso. Then was 4th at Cheltenham in a race that worked out quite well, but then went to Doncaster and won the River Don very impressively on, what was it, the trials day as well. So, no, it was pretty decent, I think, if I remember rightly, yeah. You got me thinking now. But obviously he's got a huge future. Another 3 starts under rules, and the way he won 7.5 lengths, he won that River Don. Nice types in behind as well. Whether he's going to go over fences, I imagine he'll go over fences. Whether he goes to stay in hurdle route, whichever, I think he's got a massive season. He can mop up those races up in the north, 2.5, 3 miles, and maybe come down something like Aintree. I think she said if he needed a flat track or undulations wouldn't suit him, so maybe Aintree's on his agenda. But I think Kerry Hill, certainly a nice horse to follow for the year. Thanks to Frankie.
Thanks very much. I'm excited to get going.
So am I, yeah. Jackdaws Castle, absolutely beautiful. Thanks to the team O'Neill Racing, to Jonjo, to Jackie, to John Jr. and AJ as well for hosting us here at the beautiful Jackdaws Castle this morning. Cannot wait. We're already underway. Chepstow was intriguing. Probably gives more questions than answers. We are looking forward to Cheltenham, the showcase meeting, getting their season underway, and 6 months of brilliant National Hunt racing ahead.